Bibliophiles of the internet, my name is Adri and today I'm here to share my best books of 2020. If you're new here, hi, I've been doing my best of videos in the format you're about to see for many years. Basically, I showcase every single one of my favorite books from the past year, regardless of genre, demographic, or topic. They are not ranked, but instead listed in chronological order from January to December, and it doesn't matter whether the book was newly published within the year or not. If I read it for the first time during the past year, it's fair game, it counts. I am not going to give a synopsis or talk about what I thought of these books, but instead I'm going to share a reason why each story stuck with me or something I personally took away from each book. I think that's everything you need to know. I may have accidentally forgotten a few things because I am only human, but without any further ado, let's get into the books. First up, we have Untamed Shore by Silvia Moreno Garcia. Because even when we find ourselves surrounded by destructive forces, it should not be a foregone conclusion that we must also destroy ourselves. How We Fight for Our Lives by Saeed Jones. Because we do not have to quantify or perform our experiences in order to be considered powerful or real enough. Slay by Brittany Morris, because we must commit ourselves to both creating and protecting spaces where our specific lived experiences are honored and given room to exist. The Deep by River Solomon, David Diggs, William Hudson, and Jonathan Snipes. Because forgetting is not the same thing as healing. If we hope to heal from our trauma, we cannot allow it to stay trapped within ourselves. Piecing Me Together by Renee Watson. Because we should not be defined or limited by what we don't have, but instead by how much we have to give. Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. Because the limits of what we can do are only defined by what we're willing to do in order to give others and ourselves a fighting chance. Interior Chinatown by Charles Yu. Because the real tragedy of assimilation is the way it strips us of our ability to not only imagine our future, but to imagine ourselves. The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. Because even when the world cannot possibly anticipate the entirety of us, even when the world hasn't been good to us, we still get to decide how we live in it and whether we can make it a good place for someone else. The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. Because there is tangible power in emotion, in experience, and self-determination that is far greater than those who seek to destroy us could ever anticipate. Darius the Great Is Not Okay and Darius the Great Deserves Better by Adib Khorram. Because what's normal is completely relative, and our own kind of normal is not something we're taught or that we discover, but that we create. You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. Because blindly conforming to what the world expects of us will always be a losing game. It is far sweeter to win by our own rules. The Boy in the Red Dress by Kristen Lambert. Because we have to persist in challenging a system where the people we afford innocence to are often the ones who are least in need of it. The Extraordinaries by T.J. Klune. Because even though we may have good intentions, the choices we make based on those intentions still have consequences and always impact more than just us. The Book of Salt by Monique Trong. Because even though the world is quick to show us what we are not and what we can never be, that only makes us hungrier to find and solidify spaces where we can safely exist. The Best at It by Malik Pancholi. Because even though the world teaches us to value and pursue whiteness by erasing ourselves, making ourselves quote-unquote palatable will only ever strip us of what makes us different, which is what makes us powerful. I'll Be the One by Lila Lee. Because our journey should not be about making other people comfortable, but learning how to unapologetically stand in our own light. Jade City and Jade War by Fonda Lee. Because the boundaries of our worth often seem to be defined by our circumstances, and we have to dig deep and give up so much if we are to discover what it takes to go beyond those limits. The Sound of Stars by Alicia Dow. Because love and joy will always have value, especially in a world that seems to be devoid of them. An Absolutely Remarkable Thing and a Beautifully Foolish Endeavor by Hank Green. Because as humans, our consciousness is hardwired to self-correct, and we have this compulsion to make sense of everything when not everything can or should make sense. All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson. Because in a world that values our pain over our joy, it is lifelong work to extract and untangle untangle moments of joy and empowerment from moments of loss. Felix Ever After by Kacen Callender, because we're expected to know exactly who we are, even though becoming is a lifelong process. So it is more than enough to simply find a way of living that is ours and to just exist. The Summer of Everything by Julian Winters, because the future is real and unavoidable, so we can either be crushed by it or decide to shape it for ourselves. Love Me for Who I Am by Konoyama Kata, because the world tries to tell us in so many ways that we have to be certain things in order to be considered worthy of love, value, and respect, when the truth is that we don't have to earn any of those things. We deserve them because we exist. Given by Kizu Natsuki, because sometimes the right kind of love can recontextualize all the things we thought we knew about ourselves. Phoenix Extravagant by Yoonha Lee, because our choices inevitably teach us something about ourselves and our limits, and we owe it to ourselves to find out where our power truly lies. Anna on the Edge by AJ Sass, because sometimes it takes only one person showing us that it's possible to empower us to make the changes in our lives that will help us best tell our true stories. Miss Meteor by Taylor K. Mahia and A.M. Macklemore, because it would be easy to change ourselves to fit into a simpler narrative, but it is far more worthwhile to just create more space by leaning into what is true about ourselves. Lupe Wong Won't Dance by Dona Barba Higuera, because sharing and celebrating in culture is far more effective than suppressing or erasing it. Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia, because it's easy for our lives to become about our own survival in a world that both depends on and is built upon its entitlement to our existence and our bodies. But our survival is just our beginning. Cia Martinez and the Moonlit Beginning of Everything by Raquel Vasquez Gilliland, because for every impossible way the world tries to hurt us, we alone have the power and ability to heal each other and find new ways of hoping. Furia by Jamila Said Mendez, because it's the people who have fought before us and refused to give up on us who teach us how and why we should fight for ourselves. Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse, because continuing to feed into cycles of anger and violence only creates a world that can never hope to heal itself. Elatsue by Darcy Littlebadger, because in a world that seems to make less and less sense, it is our emotional inheritance, our people, and the stories they leave behind that reveal the path that is at our feet. These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, because there are both demons of circumstance and demons of our own creation, and it's our choice whether to face them or give them even more power over us. Braiding Sweetgrass by Dr. Robin Wall Kimmerer, because our planet is not the horrible and unknowable place we've been taught to believe it is, but a provider and part of a living relationship that both sustains and acknowledges us, and it deserves to be acknowledged by us in return. One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston, because it's important not only to name and identify our own loneliness, but to learn how to trust the people around us to see through it and recognize the joy we are still capable of containing within us. The 30 Names of Night by Zain Jogadar, because sometimes it's not about the stories that get told, but the stories that survive and are still able to live on within us. And finally, Be Dazzled by Ryan LaSala, because it's not about what we create or how we create, but that we maintain the capacity and willingness to create. So there you have it. Those are all my favorite books I read in the year of 2020. In the comments below, I would love to hear all about your favorite 2020 books. But that's everything I had for this end of the year roundup today. Until next time, educate yourself, be kind to yourself, take care of yourself, and I will catch you on the flip side of the page.